behalf of the Office of Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, and Office of Principal Chief Commissioner of GST and Central Excise, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, hearty welcome to all the senior officers of Income Tax, GST and Central Excise who have gathered here for this special address on the eve of Vigilance Awareness Week. Warm welcome to our distinguished chief guest, Shri K.V. Chowdhury, former Central Vigilance Commissioner. We extend our heartiest welcome to the dignitaries on the dais, Shri R. Ravichandran IRS, Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, and Shri Mandalika Srinivas, IRS, Principal Chief Commissioner of GST and Central Excise. Let us begin this session with Tamil Thai Vaalthu.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிளமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
As a token of our respect, we would like to honor the esteemed chief guest for the day. For that, may I invite Srimati Tripti Biswas, Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, to please present a sapling to our chief guest. May now request Shri Mandalika Srinivas, IRS, Principal Chief Commissioner of GST and Central Excise, to please do the honors. May now request our respected Principal CC, Income Tax, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, Shri R. Ravichandran IRS, to please honor our chief guest. Thank you, sirs. As we are all aware that Vigilance Awareness Week is observed every year during the week beginning from 31st October. The significance of October 31 being the birthday of Bismarck of India, Sardar Vallabhai Patel. To welcome this August gathering, may I now invite Srimati Swapna Nanu Ambat, ADG Vigilance South, Chennai, onto the dais, please.
Let the eye of vigilance never be closed. So said the American founding father, Thomas Jefferson. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second day of the celebration of Vigilance Awareness Week 2022. As we all know, every year, Vigilance Awareness Week is celebrated in the week that follows the birthday of Sri Vallabhai Patel, the Iron Man of India. Though the vigilance functions in the department and within government continues throughout the year, we take special efforts to celebrate a particular week, and we have various programs. As we see every year, we have programs ranging from speeches by eminent personalities. We have visits to schools and colleges where children are made aware of what vigilance involves and what Vigilance Awareness Week looks forward to achieve from the citizens of the country, from the organizations in the country. This morning, we are gathered here to have one such program as a part of our Vigilance Awareness Week. Respected Shri K.V. Chowdhury, IRS retired, former Chief Vigilance Commissioner and former Chairman of CBDT, who's our special guest for today. Respected Shri R. Ravichandran Sir, Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. Respected Shri Mandalika Srinivas Sir, Principal Chief Commissioner, Customs and GST. Senior officers who are present here from both the Income Tax and also the GST and Customs, and my dear friends. We are indeed fortunate and privileged to have with us today Shri K.V. Chaudhary, IRS retired, former Chief Vigilance Commissioner and former Chairman of CBDT. It was a proud moment for the department when Shri K.V. Chaudhary sir took over as CVC in 2015, the first IRS officer to do so. And today, having him here, he is thoroughly the apt person to be talking to us about this year's theme for the Vigilance Awareness Week 2022, which is Corruption-Free India for a Developed Nation. On behalf of the entire income tax, GST and customs fraternity present here today, the offices of Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, and the Office of Principal Chief Commissioner, Central Excise and Customs, I welcome K.V. Chaudhary sir to be a part of today's program. Thank you very much for being here with us today, sir. Shri R. Ravichandran sir, our beloved Principal Chief Commissioner, has always been a constant source of support and encouragement in all the activities which we conduct on a day-to-day basis. On behalf of all of us present here, I welcome sir to this program. A special welcome to Shri Mandalika Srinivas, IRS, Principal Chief Commissioner of Central Excise and GST. On behalf of everyone present here, I welcome sir to this august gathering. I also take this opportunity to welcome senior officers of the Income Tax and Central Excise and GST who are present here today in making this program a success with their presence. I welcome each and every one of them on behalf of both the departments to this program. Vigilance Awareness Week 2020-22, let us come together to work towards a corruption-free India for a developed nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. We now invite Shri Mandalika Srinivas, IRS, Principal Chief Commissioner, GST and Central Excise, to please address the gathering.
Respected Shri K.V. Chaudhary Sahab, former CVC, Shri Ravichandran, Principal CC, Income Tax, galaxy of Chief Commissioners, Principal Commissioners, Senior Officers of both CBIC and CBDT, and dear friends. Firstly, please allow me to compliment my colleague for bringing the officers of both CBIC and CBDT Chennai together on this platform. It is very important on this occasion to demonstrate that both the departments are always united for any cause, including fighting the cause of corruption and work together towards a developed nation. We should remain united for all our endeavors for the common interest and for the welfare of the staff of both the departments at all locations. And we are working together, the Joint Coordination Committee is really working together for the better solidarity and happy living in our office as well as in the residential complexes. And I thank once again for Ravichandran for taking this initiative. I'm sure all of you agree with me that the corruption is a social evil which impacts badly the lives of everyone, either directly or indirectly. Every one of us must have been a victim in some context or the other. And it is needless to say that the corruption is a major negative factor that has been hindering the development of our country. Many overseas investors, they think twice and they have lots of apprehensions for various reasons, including the fact of corruption in India. The public perception is also not all that good, and there is a lot to be done by everyone, including the officers of both the departments. It is a sad reality that our nation, despite many initiatives by the government, NGOs, individuals, the corruption is still a major factor for development. This issue predominantly is citizen-centric in my view, and hence the citizens have a greater role to fight against corruption. Countries like Japan, Singapore, they had overcome this to a great extent and could demonstrate their commitment and ensured rapid growth in their respective countries. The major onus of freeing India from all its social evils lies on the shoulders of our youth and every individual who are the torchbearers of our nation. If our youth are taught the good values and encourage holistic growth of their personalities, we can certainly ensure a rapid development. The elders certainly play a role, and they are the role models for the younger generation. Hence, all of us have a great responsibility in ensuring and in nurturing the good values on the part of the younger generation. Secondly, it's important to raise the status and marginalized sections, status of the marginalized sections of the society, and give them equal opportunity to grow in terms of education as well as job opportunities. Then it will not only be possible to eradicate poverty from our nation, but also accelerate its all-round development. And an educated person has better mental ability and conviction to resist any kind of exploitation, including the way of corruption. Prevention of Corruption Act considers non-performance of public duty as an offense. Thus, non-performance of duty by public servants for which they are morally, legally, and constitutionally mandated to do is a form of corruption, and we are all aware of it. In my view, the utmost commitment on the part of the public servants as well as the general public, and accountability and ownership of every aspect of functioning would automatically eliminate corruption to ensure rapid development of our nation. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now invite our Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, Sri R. Ravichandran, sir, to please address the gathering.
Respected K.V. Chowdhury, sir, former CVC, former chairman, and my guide and mentor. I think I always seek his help whenever I'm in trouble. I think he is my go-to person many, many times. I can say right from the time I met him during 1989, the day I joined the service in Chennai. Thank you so much, sir, for coming here and gracing this occasion. And I'm really proud to have you here with us to share your thoughts and on this day. Mandalika Srinivas, Principal CCGST, thank you very much for being present here. Like you said, it is a new initiative that we thought that we will make to have a joint event to at least work together in a united fashion to see that there is a lot that we can achieve by collaboration and synergy rather than having this kind of a bickering amongst both the services. So thank you very much for making a great beginning. I think it will go a long way in ensuring that I think we will all work together to achieve efficiency, peace, and happiness while we are together. And my dear senior officers and officers from CBIC and other staff members. This day, I think it's very important for all of us to remember the whole week that we are celebrating as a Vigilance Awareness Week. And vigilance, as even our Swapna was saying, to keep our eyes open, to see things around. In a simple way, when we look at it, all of us have our own moral compass inside that tells each and every one of us what is right and what is wrong. You don't have to go read something to ask somebody what I'm doing is right or wrong, because there is a compass inside us that we are all born with that tells you exactly what is right and what is wrong. And if you go by what is inside, all of you know that 99.9% that you are right. I would rather say 100% you are right, because the first stage of that discomfort comes from inside, not from anywhere else. When you seek advice that whether it is right or wrong, is only when you know something is wrong, because something inside tells you something is wrong. You feel uncomfortable, and you want to go and ask somebody for validation. And you go and ask somebody that what I'm doing is right or wrong. If the values of the society where I am, or the person whom I ask, his own values, his own moral compass, is already tilted much more in favor of whatever unethical and immoral activity, he will tell me, yeah, yeah, chalega, okay, it's fine, you can do this. Then what happens? I start adjusting my moral compass to suit the whatever, the person that whom I sought advice has told me. So over a period of time, what happens? You don't start listening to yourself and you start moving away from yourself, and you live in a world which is much more removed from the reality that is your own self. That is something that all of us know pretty well within the heart, that morality and ethics is something that what you do when no one is watching you, when no one is looking at you, and which you are the best judge of what is right or what is wrong. There are a lot of books are written, lots of literature is written. Even we have Tirukural, which has one complete section written on that, what is right and what is wrong, what is moral, what is immoral, what is good and what is evil. But I only leave you with a couple of slokas from the Bhagavad Gita, which has been there as a guiding force on this. Maybe around 5,000 years ago, that we have this as a guiding epic for us to follow. There's only one thing that, Krishna was telling Arjuna, how to build a character, but also the root cause of ethical failure and how to avoid the failure. Krishna tells Arjuna that there are about 26 qualities which are necessarily called ethics or moral values, which includes so many things. Maybe I mention a few, like merciful, obedient, truthful, equitable, sanity, magnanimous, mild-mannered, clean, simple, charitable, peaceful, surrender to God, not greedy, persuasive, remain steady and determined, not gluttonous, sober, respectful, eloquent, lot of things. These are about 27 qualities which Krishna has elaborated to Arjuna to be the one that personifies these ethical qualities, which has been brought only in two verses, that is verse 37 and 38. I just thought I will only bring this on this day. That is the verse 36, I will talk about it. That is Kamayesha, Krodayesha, Rajoguna, Samudbhavaha, Mahashano, Mahapapma, Vidyanam, Iha Vairinam. It is the lust alone which is born of contact with the mode of passion and later transformed into anger. Know this as the sinful, all-devouring enemy of the world. That is the lust. The second sloka, Dumena Vriyate Vagnir, Yado Darsho Malenasa, Yatol Bena Vrito Garbhas, Tata Dena Tamavridam. Just as fire is covered by smoke, a mirror masked by dust, an embryo is concealed in the womb, similarly one's knowledge is shrouded by desire. So desire is the cause of all the evil. You go to any religion, maybe that we don't have to rely on this one religion. Any religion, I think the desire is the cause of the evil. Desire is the one that, that causes all this kind of your knowledge not to manifest in full form and not to realize your own self. So these are the only thoughts that I thought I share with you. I think I don't want to stand in between our special speaker today and to share his wisdom and knowledge. Sir, thank you very much, sir, once again for being here. I think you have been my guiding force in wisdom. All of us at many stages in life go through this kind of, especially in government service, lots of challenges. I think at that time that, you have someone that, whom you can run to, who will guide you the right course of action so that we don't make any errors in judgment. So he is one of those persons who has been with me all along. And thank you very much for being with us today. And thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Today, when we are observing Vigilance Awareness Week, we are immensely honored by the presence of our esteemed chief guest, Shri K.V. Chowdhury, former Central Vigilance Commissioner, to read a brief profile of Shri K.V. Chowdhury, may I request Shri B. Stalin, Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax, to come onto the dais, please.
Good morning, sirs and madams. It is a great privilege in giving a brief introduction about an IRS officer, Sri Kosaraju Veeraya Chowdhury, fondly called as KV Chowdhury, in this August gathering, which is jointly organized by Principal CCIT, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, and Principal CC, GST and Central Excise. Sir was born on 10th October 1954 in Kurumadalli, Krishna district, Andhra Pradesh. And sir connection with Chennai is very strong actually, before and after joining the service. Sir did his BSc Mathematics from Laila College in Chennai in May 1973 and MSc Mathematics from IIT Madras in May 1975. Sir first worked as a probationary officer in Andhra Bank from December 1976 to July 1978. Sir joined Indian Revenue Service in September 1978 through Civil Service Examination 1977. Sir was judged as one of the best probationary officers in 1979 and was awarded a silver medal in NIDT Nagpur. Sir has investigated several sensitive and complicated cases. Several of his cases are reported in Let Us Share, an official compilation of good work of the officers of IT department. Sir was on deputation to the Department of Revenue as an Undersecretary during June 1985 to October 1987, and the Department of Company Affairs as a Deputy Secretary from October 1987 to May 1989. Sir was the Secretary to the Company Law Board for about 1.5 years. Sir worked from 1991 to 1998 in Chennai in various capacities. Sir was the member of the Indian delegation for negotiations with OECD in Paris in 2004. He was also the member of the committee constituted by the Honorable Finance Minister to redraft the Income Tax Act. He was a member of the Committee on Business Process Reengineering for Income Tax Department. Sir has visited Japan, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Switzerland, France, etc. for investigation of certain tax evasion cases. He has presented a paper on investigation of high net worth individuals and black money in the International Tax Dialogue Conference at Delhi in December 2011. Sir has represented in the international conferences of heads of criminal investigation at Istanbul, Turkey in 2030 and in The Hague, Netherlands in 2014. During Sir's 36 years of service in the Income Tax Department, he worked in almost all the divisions of the Income Tax Department. He has an extensive experience in handling issues related to taxation. Sir retired as Chairman of CBDT on 31st October 2014. On his superannuation, he was appointed as an advisor to the Department of Revenue on issues relating to black money. He was appointed as Central Vigilance Commissioner from June 2015 to June 2019. So during his tenure, he headed the Indian delegation to the 6th Annual Conference of State Parties to on United Nations Convention Against Corruption conducted by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime at St. Petersburg, Russia. Sir has attended the conferences of the state parties organized by UNODC in St. Petersburg in 2015 and Tianjin in China in 2016. Sir, he was elected as a member of the executive member of IAACA. Sir has attended an anti-corruption summit hosted by the government of UK from 12th to 13th May 2016 in London. So during his tenure as Central Vigilance Commissioner, he has developed expertise on issues relating to compliance management, anti-corruption, banking, and insurance, transparency and accountability, tendering process, etc. He laid on special emphasis on preventive vigilance, introduction of several innovative and technology-driven measures to prevent corruption, improving the speed and quality of investigation of complaints, initiation of an integrity pledge, which we did yesterday, to involve citizens in the drive against corruption, outreach activities to involve citizens and in particular the youth against the drive against the corruption, etc. Sir is currently independent directors in many of the leading companies, and he is a trustee in Mrs. Akshaya Patra Foundation, an NGO. He is an independent director in Mrs. Varalakshmi Foundation and Genome Foundation. Sir is also an advisor to Mrs. Sampark Foundations, an NGO. Thank you, sir.
Without any delay, let me, on behalf of all of you present here, may I request Shri K.V. Chowdhury, former CVC, to kindly deliver the keynote address. Please, sir.
My dear Ravichandran, Shri Srinivas Garu, Srimati Tripti Jas, other senior officers from the Income Tax and Indirect Taxes Department. It's really an honor and a privilege for me to be with you. Prior to my second stint in Delhi, that too post-retirement, probably Chennai is the place where I had spent most of my time. Somebody has also read out from the biodata, 5 years in college and 7 years at one single stint. Whereas in Delhi, I was there only for 6 years in my first stint, little less than 6 years. And then subsequently, again, another 4 years in the department leading to retirement. Subsequently, another extension, 5 years. So total stay, of course, is more. So this is a dear place. I lived in this colony. Before I get into the little bit of a mundane talk on corruption-free India for a developed nation, for officers of your seniority, I don't think any lecturing is required. We can as well discuss a few issues. Be that as it may, I want to start on a lighter note. I joined here in 91 May, and I was in the headquarters too. TCA Ramanujam Garu, stalwart, he was my chief commissioner. And Mr. V.M. Sivasubramaniam, an equal stalwart of a different temperament. He was CC2. There were only 2 CCs at that time. And CC2 was in charge of the property-related matters. This is only in lighter vein, not, I am very happy that these 2 brothers are sitting together. When I give this anecdote, you will understand why I am happy and why I am mentioning. So, incidentally, V.M. Sivasubramaniam is an ex-Navy man, I think. You can say, in poor parlance of understanding of the defense services, army man. Army includes all defense forces. So he's a little aggressive person, and I used to be DC headquarters too, and he called me and said, "Hey Chaudhary, why are these customs fellows using this road in between? You know, there's a road in between which is the more popular road. And they have the entrance for that annex building on the other side. So they should be using the other building. They are causing a lot of inconvenience here, and there's too much of traffic here, and those fellows are all parking the cars and cycles and scooters there, causing inconvenience to us. Probably one day when he came here, some scooters were parked, and so he got little delayed. So you write a letter to them saying that they should not use this road, they should use the other road. That is between your building and the religious endowments building, there's a road. That is always normally closed actually. So I tried to persuade him because I didn't want any quarrels kind of a thing. No, sir, I will go and talk to my counterpart there. No, you should write a letter. I told him, no, sir, let me try my persuasive skills with them, whether I can convince them. So he was not happy, and he wrote a letter. I didn't know about it. He didn't call for the file or anything. He wrote from his own office. His secretary typed and went. So after about 4 or 5 days, I got a call from the board. I'm not recalling, probably it was Mr. Rangachari or some other member. He said, "Hey, Chaudhary, unga vela illiyappa?" வேலை இல்லையா, நிறைய வேலை வச்சிருக்கே, இந்த என்ன சண்டை போடுறீங்க இங்கே அந்த கஸ்டம்ஸ் ஆளோட? I didn't understand, what is this, sir? I told, sir, what is it about? No, you go and ask your chief commissioner too. You are behaving as if you don't know it. I said, really, I don't know, sir. He asked me to go and, I said, I will go and speak regarding some parking problem. And he said, no, leave it, I will deal with it. So I went to him. Said, sir, member called like this. Then he pulled out from the almirah. He called his secretary, I think. She pulled out and said, show it to him. So he wrote, I think if I remember, a lady principal chief commissioner used to be here. Ruby somebody? I think if you see the old roll of honors. Huh? Varalakshmi Raja? Okay, I'm sorry. So you wrote, my dear Varalakshmi or something like that, and then it's causing inconvenience, you should use this. You know, we are the owners, we acquired this property for tax arrears of late Vanaparthi Jamindar, this and that, and you are actually here because of my goodness, something like that he wrote. All that aside, Madam took grave kind of objection to his referring to him as my dear Varalakshmi. So she wrote back to him saying that to the something Chief Commissioner of Income Tax 2 or something like that, or dear Chief Commissioner or some such things he wrote, and said you must brush up your knowledge of this thing. You must know how to address a person from the female member of the this thing, your counterpart, etc. And she also wrote some half a page. I don't recall it fully, but she also wrote fairly nasty letter to him. So Rangachari ji knew only up to these two things. Then Shivasubramaniam ji told me, this is the reply I got. I said, sir, let's leave it. No, why leave it? I've already replied to her. I said, what have you replied? he took out a third letter, which is his response to her, quoting some age-old office manual of the Central Secretariat, which lays down how do you address some other person in a DO letter. If he is senior to you, you write Dear Shri or Dear Srimati or Dear MS. If he is junior to you or of your own batch, then irrespective of the fact whether you know him or you don't know him, you use my dear as the salutation. So he quoted that, and then he got a Xerox copy made of that manual, and he sent it to her. He sent it to her, and anyway, that day he told me that. After 3-4 days, he called me again. And said, look, I got a reply for this. The reply said that the manual you enclosed to me, it applies to only Central Secretariat. It doesn't apply to the it doesn't apply to the attached officers. Anyway, let's leave it at that. So from that stage, we have come to a stage when I think some years back, not very far ago, 2-3 years ago, there was a big dispute going around as to who owns this property. The Customs and Central Excise has a share in this, or they are only there because of some, cousin brother or brotherly this thing, and whether we should repossess it, and who should build the another tower there, etc., etc. Since it's a recent past, I don't want to name the people. So from that stage, it's very, very heartening that Ravi and Srinivas Garu sit together and joke and have a cup of coffee, which I haven't seen. The best I have seen was when an audit Public Accounts Committee came for a joint visit. Both of them had to be together, so they both were together. Or when a revenue sports is conducted, both of them had to be on the same stage, so they were on the stage, but each had his own way. Anyway, this is all in the lighter vein. Thank you very much for having me here. I will take you through a slightly different note on the issue of this corruption and the whole issue of compliance, etc. When I talk about corruption, or generally when people talk about corruption, most of us have in our mind the act of bribery. I'm being very honest. I think we are all, is all in-house. We don't have any media here. Good. We can take some liberties. So most of us have in our mind a bribery. Bribery is something where I go and give somebody some money or money's equivalent and try to get some work done. So many of us have this notion of bribery as an equivalent version of corruption. But in my personal view, and this is what I try to document and put it through, is that corruption is a much, much wider significance compared to bribery. Bribery is a baser version of corruption, and it can be dealt with more easily compared to other forms of corruption. I'll give you a small example. Let's assume that the three of us are sitting in an interview board to recruit, let's say group D or whatever it is. If not group D, you can't recruit. I think now even group D you can't recruit, but let's assume that we are allowed to recruit group Bs. So an enterprising fellow comes and gives me a lakh of rupees and says, sir, you somehow recruit me. So I say, okay, I will somehow do that. Ravichandran likes people coming from deep south, Kumbakonam fellow, and he is absolutely honest. He has not seen the person who has appeared before him for the interview earlier, but his biodata shows that he is from Kumbakonam, from where he also hails. I'm just saying, he's not from Kumbakonam, just saying. And just to, for argument or for some other purpose, from his name, he finds that fellow, his fellow is Ravichandran, that fellow is Ramachandran, and some surname, etc., if it is there in south, could make out that he belongs to either his own community or a community nearer to him. So he tends a little bit swing to that fellow. He has not known him, he has not approached him, he has never seen him, nor he will ever see him next, let's presume. But he has got some innate, some plus 10, 20%, 30% tilt toward that fellow. My good friend Srinivas Garu, he is fair complexion like me, and he is, let us say, some 5'8", 5'6", 5'7", whatever it is, medium build. He is very conscious of the looks of a person. So out of the 20 fellows who appeared for the interview, there is one such similar fellow who fits this into this thing. He has also not seen him any time earlier, nor he is likely to see him any time later. But the more, whatever it is, the prescribed qualifications wise, a fellow who is falling more into that matrix, he is a dark colored fellow. He is either short or very tall. He doesn't speak my language. So some prejudice has crept in his mind. My agenda is different, his agenda is different, his agenda is different. You would call me, I am corrupt, because I took 1 lakh rupees to give that fellow a job. Ravi didn't take 1 rupee from him. He has never known him, he has never seen him. But he has given him 30% mark more than what he deserves. As a result, he walked into the competition. My friend Srinivas Garu, he had a liking for a fellow who looks in a particular way, or he comes from a particular college, whatever it is. You can substitute any prejudice. And that fellow walked into the job. That tall fellow from X place, who didn't give me money, he didn't fit into his prejudice, he didn't fit into that prejudice. But a computerized selection, like your faceless, or something else, or none of us have seen, none of us gone, he would have probably fitted better into the matrix. Now, which one of us is corrupt? Which one of us is corrupt? All three are corrupt. What difference does it make? I have a set of qualifications, set of criteria for doing a particular job. In this case, it is selection of a group D. Or in another case, it is making a customs valuation assessment when goods are imported. Or it is an income tax assessment where you are required to compute the income. The criteria are something laid down, assuming. I will come to the next category. If there is no criteria laid down, what to do? If the criteria are laid down, what difference does it make? How does he look like? Where does he come from? My mentor and guru, Mr. Narayanan, in my first year of service, I was his assistant commissioner. Those days, ITO headquarters. So he had not shifted his family yet from Calcutta, and so he came on those days. Saturday was anyway working day. On a Sunday, he said he is coming to office. He has to pass some 263 orders. So I also came to office. He said, "Why did you come to office?" I said, "Sir, you are coming." No, he didn't have any work, but you are local fellow. Your wife is there. Your daughter is there. Anyway, I came there. So he took the file and he started dictating. I sat there and I was also doing some work. So after he passed that order, he threw the file like that. So then I saw that file related to erstwhile finance minister, Mr. Gopal Reddy. He was the first minister of state in the earlier. Later he became, I think, chief minister of Andhra Pradesh also. He was a minister of state in Andhra Pradesh. And he filed a 264 petition because they had a lot of mining interests in Gudur area. And he passed that order rejecting the petition under 264, seeking some for that mica, I remember rose mica, whether it amounts to a mineral or not, which is eligible for some exemption under ATI or some such thing. So he passed an order and he said it is rejected. And in the end, he wrote one strong sentence he wrote. It has become a habit for this taxpayer that year after year he comes with this request, though it has been rejected several times, with the only intention that they can defer the payment of tax. And in those days, that interest, which is 220, I think, was waivable. And then he will come back with some interest under 220 waiver. He threw it there like that. He was about to dictate the next one. I said, "Sir, this relates to Mr. Bajaj Gopal Reddy." He said, "What difference does it make?" That is the reason why I don't read the name of the file. I only read the facts of the case. I read only the facts of the case. I know that if I read the first name, then I may get influenced as to who this man is and what this work is, etc. So it is better that I don't read the name so that I don't wear a colored glass. I pass an order because the order fits into the facts of the case. So anyway, now that you have seen and this thing, I will delete the last sentence, which is none of my business to say at this stage, whether he will come for 220 or interest waiver or not. He has come for a relief under section 80I, seeking my revisionary powers, and I feel that it is not applicable. So, okay, that is rejected. Last sentence, chhod do bhai. See, this is what I am telling. This is what is required of us. Whether you deviate from a laid down process for a purpose of making a little money, or for satisfying your ego, or helping somebody for a non-monetary consideration, corruption is corruption. It's a larger issue I am taking. So, if it comes to money, there are some other consequences. If it doesn't come to money, what are the other consequences? Or how do you establish that misconduct or crime, whatever you call, is a separate issue. Then you come to the issue, as to what is that is the prescribed way to do. Are there prescribed ways to do everything in the department or in the things we handle, whether it is income tax assessment, customs assessment, GST assessment, or acquisition of a property, sale of a property by government, so on and so forth? Are there rules? We need to know. That's why the manuals are required to be there for everything. You know, we have those 3 volumes. I think they have not been updated for long. Volume 1, 2, 3 administrative manuals in the tax department. When I joined as Vigilance Commissioner, I found that the Central Vigilance Commissioners, that manual, Vigilance Manual, has not been updated for 14 years. So I said the first thing we should do is to update it. How can we have the moral right to tell somebody to update their manuals and have their processes in place when our own manual is so outdated? So we created a team and we worked day and night and we released it in the first, before the next Vigilance Awareness Week came. So the manual or whatever you call it, the instruction, circular, it lays down the standard operating procedure. The standard operating procedure as to how you do a job, how you are required to do a job, whether there are any exceptions, or if the manual doesn't cover all the situations, what do you do? I'll give you 2 examples. I was undersecretary in CBDT in '86. As you know, when you join as departmental IRS officers, at that time you are required to pass your departmental exam within 2 chances. We all had only 1 year of training, 1 year in the campus. If you don't pass there, go back and pass in the first year, next year. Otherwise, it's fine print, so many things will be there, your services are likely to be terminated, this, that, and all that. So a file came. I newly joined in '85, August or so. Sometime in November, December, file came. Some 6 people didn't pass the departmental exam for 6 times or 7 times. So the chief commissioners, or those days there was no chief commissioner, Commissioner 1 sent a different commissioner sent proposal saying that they may be given 1 more chance. So file came to me. I was undersecretary. I went through it and I said, where is the rule which says that you can give a 1 more chance? It says you pass within 2 attempts. There is no exception provided to pass in a 3rd chance. The question of 6th, 7th chance, 8th chance doesn't arise. So I said, look here, the rules don't provide for giving an extra chance. Whatever chances from 2 to 6 that have been given, they have been given in strong terms, if you want put, they are ultra vires. They are not, they are exercise of power beyond what is delegated to you. So the only option in this case is to terminate these fellows. File went to Mr. Chairman then. Chairman looked into it and then he called. He called me, I went. I explained, hey, what have you written? 6 fellows will lose job. They are all your, some 2, 3 of them senior to you, 3, 4 of them younger to you. I said, sir, this is what the rule says. I don't know who these 6 people are, but this is what the rule says. So Tikku, as you all know, is a very strong person. He also agreed with me. File went to finance minister through the secretary. Everybody signed because once chairman says, just in this small corners, small room, very unlikely that minister disagrees with that unless it's a major policy issue. He signed and we issued an order terminating 6 IRS officers. 2 of them completed 8 years also. So within 3-4 days, hell broke out. One of them was the son-in-law of then sitting Minister of State for Home. 2 were related to 2 secretaries. 2, 3 others, somewhat influential fellows. Maybe 1, 2, no influence. The reason given is they were all appearing for civil services, or somebody is busy with something, somebody has happened something, whatever it is. They had very genuine reasons probably. So they made a representation And informally, a lot of pressure was put on then finance minister. Then finance minister was Mr. VP Singh. So he called. He received that bunch of representations directly in the minister's office. He called the chairman. Chairman said, "You also come, you wait outside, I will call you." I waited outside, and after 1 minute, I was called inside. So he asked, "What is this?" I said, "This what is the position, sir?" He said, "Yes, what you are telling is right. If the IRS officers don't pass their exam in time, then how do we expect other lower functionaries to obey the rules? It is appropriate. Fine. But what to do? There are also some compulsions in life, compulsions in politics, compulsions in government. We need to do something." I said, "Sir, if you need to do something, I have nothing against them. In fact, I also felt very bad. I couldn't sleep for 2 days that 8 of them lost their jobs suddenly. And I have though I don't know any one of them, I am feeling very shy to even face other IRS officers." So he said, "What is the solution?" I said, "The solution is you amend the rule. You amend the rule, you give a discretion to yourself or somebody, because the rule is not something which is like nature's law, that sun rises in the east or sets in the west or some such thing. These rules are made by us. They are not even made by the parliament. Under some delegated powers, these rules have been made. So you empower yourself first. You issue a notification, if necessary through the subordinate legislation body, etc. Then if the government is empowered to give, say, a third chance or a fourth chance, and you lay down what are all the conditions. In these conditions, we can lay down. We can give. These conditions, we don't give. Then you can give. With there being no power, under a residuary power which you think you have, you go on saying that allowed one more time, allowed one more time. I don't like somebody else's face. I say don't allow. No, this is not possible. So he said, "Okay." Then you go back. He called the law secretary, asked him to draft a rules for us, amendment rules for the IRS recruitment, as to how many chances you can give and any exception could be made. And first rule was brought, then they were given one chance, and all of them were brilliant officers. They all passed. Only thing is, they were probably taking it easy. Point I'm saying is, in a government or a public situation, every act of yours is with reference to a benchmark that is set. If your action is not with reference to that, you need to first create a framework with reference to which your action is to be judged. If that is not there, people can, on the same facts, argue the matter in two different ways. Somebody who is inimical to you can put the same facts and then say that you shouldn't have done like this, you should have done like this. Because there is no benchmark against which your actions will be judged, or actions are required to be taken. Judgment comes later. So that is where the manuals, the standard operating procedures, etc., they come into place. If this manual is not there, then what is the officially expected manner of performance of a duty? Everybody has his own way. Like now today there's a lot of debate. People are telling people should be allowed to work from home. They should come 3 days to office, 3 days home. Somebody says, no, all days office. Then somebody has to say that no, you can do this, you cannot do this. This category of people should do this category, this can. So the importance of laying down the manuals, importance of laying down the way of doing a thing in government service or in a public service is the most important. That is why Commission has been impressing upon people to review their systems and lay down processes so that people know what to do. Not only it is enough that it is laid down, it should be known to people that this is how you do it. This is how there are exceptions. There are no exceptions to this category of systems. So otherwise what happens is, even if you do things with good intention, your good intention means you want to do some good. But that good does not necessarily be a good for everybody. You take the case of 2G case, what happened? 2G case with so much of investigation thanks to CBI, spending so much of time, income tax department, so many fellows running around, and the AG, what's that good friend's name? Vinod Rai writing a wonderful report, 3 lakh crores. 3 naya paisa of money exchanging hands has not been established, at least to my knowledge. 3 naya paisa of money being given by one of the licensees to either a minister or a secretary or this man, that man has not been established. But what has been established is that the government of India wanted to allot spectrum at that time based on a certain criteria. And they said, you pay this much of money based on what you are asking and make your applications by so and so date. But suddenly, 1 week before the date was over, somebody said, close the door today. 1 week before, they stopped applications. By then, whoever has applied, whoever has not applied and wanted to apply, one fellow took demand draft for 1450 crores and he was sitting on that. He was thinking that he will apply tomorrow, day after, on the last day, thinking that maybe whatever are his calculations. So what did Supreme Court say? You cannot change the terms of a tender or an issue after it is already issued to public. Then you should have said in your tender document, either it is first come, first served, or the moment 5 people come, I close the gate, or government reserves the right to close the tender or close the opportunity for such reasons as it may deem fit. But without that, simply you closed. Suppose they call the applications for the civil service exam. All of us want to attend. Fellow like me want to apply on a good day. So good day happens to be the last but one day. Others quickly applied. So after 4 or 5 days, Hare Baba, I have got capacity to handle exam of only lakh of people. So today let us close the applications. Those who applied, applied. Those who have not applied, they have not applied. Let them go to next year. Is it possible? It may be possible if you have a condition in the recruitment notice saying that only the first 1 lakh people who apply under this will be called for an examination. So, first come, first served, everybody will apply who are serious about it. So, the point I am saying is, the need to lay down conditions to the extent of minor detail is the most important thing in government service. The next thing is, when you have some such laid down process and you are now deciding an individual case, there is a need for you and you will be accountable, if not today, after 10 years, after 20 years. Some of our cases come for review by the Supreme Court after 20 years, 25 years. Then K.V. Chowdhury or Ravi Ramachandran are not there to stand next to the honorable judge and explain, sir, this is the reason why I did this. So your file need to speak about that, as to what are the circumstances and what are the reasons why you are coming to this conclusion, and why, if there is a second option available, you are not opting that second option. That is why we, the people in the income tax or customs, we are better off in this. In most of the other cases, I decide, I direct, that's all, finished. Why you direct, God knows. You may have a good reason. You may have a much better reason than what I have. But you have not enunciated and put it in black and white. That is what is more important. The transparency and accountability are there in that. So as a public servant, my actions are reviewable by several agencies. It could be courts, it could be RTI, it could be what is that, Public Accounts Committee, it could be somebody else. It could be Vigilance, etc. So, there is a need for us, and actually it is mandatory for us to record those reasons. Again, I said is an in-house thing. Much has been said as to why Alok Verma has been sidelined, not sidelined. I do not get into that. Supreme Court said that you send a report. My two colleagues who are not from income tax, one from a bank and the other from the police service, they wrote half a page and came to me that we can file this. I said, no. You will be massacred tomorrow morning in the Supreme Court if you go this three-line note. If you don't say every word of what you know, thinking that that will embarrass either X, Y, or Z, or ourselves, we will be massacred. We need to put every bit of it. I wrote a 68-page report. So much so, the Supreme Court, though they said, you have no powers to transfer him, which we never transferred. We only said you are disabled from exercising your powers under section, under the Prevention of Corruption Act. We never transferred him as from the director to some other post. That's the central government did it. The CVC only said, look here, we lost faith in you, so you don't exercise any more powers under the PC Act. A 68-page report, every word of it read and signed by me. Again, not to be quoted outside. They signed the last pages and left it and went away before it is corrected. See, what I am telling is, your conclusion may be wrong. I can be accused of a wrong logic, but I cannot be accused of non-application of mind. I cannot be accused of a process not being there. I can be accused that, look here, given these two options, there being no other compelling factor, you should have taken this, you could have taken this. Yes, I could have taken this, I could have taken that. But why I am taking this route A, I am writing there. This is judgment of error. So, when I became the CVC again, I was again pressed with this, the bank's cases. Somebody gave a loan to somebody and that fellow did well, he repaid it. Somebody didn't do well, he didn't repay, it became a vigilance case. So I said, the vigilance officers are losing their head seeing the end result of a particular action in deciding whether the person who took the decision took a bona fide decision or not. A classic case in Punjab. Two brothers owned a property and both brothers separated, or rather partitioned. Both of them went to the same bank. Their respective portions they mortgaged and both of them raised some 50 lakh each. Both of them did two different businesses. Brother A failed, loan became bad, and their inspection and vigilance team inspected. They charge sheeted the manager who gave loan to him. Brother B succeeded, he repaid the loan, and so the vigilance didn't take up. Facts are the same. Manager is the same. Rather, manager, two different managers, but identical circumstances. The fact as to whether the business fellow, brother A, succeeded or failed, manager has nothing to do. His business is to satisfy himself whether there are conditions satisfied, etc., loan to be given or not. This property title was defective. When they tried to enforce in brother A's case, who failed, they realized that title is defective, so they ran after the manager. Is that the outcome? The process to be followed by both the fellows is the same, whether the loan is recovered or not. So, what I am only saying is that one, you follow the process. Second, as an officer, as a supervisory authority, when you judge a decision, there is a distinction you have to draw between three things: an error, a mistake, a fraud. What is an error? Error is something you are seeing, like children when we do the mathematics paper. You write everything and then some number has come. When you are writing in the next line the same number, 46, you wrote 64 or 47 something. Just slip of mind. Mistake. My arithmetic is poor. 4 fours are 17, I learnt. I go on putting that 4 fours are 17 everywhere, so I commit so many mistakes. This is a mistake. There is no issue on that. I need to be trained. Look here, you get your maths right. I need to be trained. It's a case of a HR issue or a personal issue. It's not a case of vigilance. Fraud. I normally put 4 fours are 16, and there is no instance of my making a 4 is a 17, and the circumstances show that here I made 4 as 17 or 18 only with a view to arrive at this conclusion, which just justifies a decision which otherwise is not following from that. You follow me? It is the third category of cases which attract vigilance and which attract vigilance. Not the duffer who doesn't know anything making errors. Either you made a mistake in recruiting that fellow or inability to train. Category B, you trained him but the training didn't register in his mind. So it's a question of the fellow being sent back to the training institute further to study. Third category is the only category you need to get. So as CVC, there's a beautiful book, British book, written on this error, mistake, and fraud. Where they analyzed so many decisions and then came what is what. So I held some seminars for all my CVOs, saying that, look here, this is what it says. Please follow this. Not just because loan given, gone. So charge sheet. No, you can't do this. So while on one hand you need to put systems in place, the systems will be followed when you monitored and make sure that people are following systems. But when system is by oversight either not followed or system is not so very clear and people take decisions, you stand by them and punish or initiate proceedings only against such people where you are more than 100% convinced that that is not a bona fide action but a mala fide action. You can't be given show cause notices and memos for every 154 that has been issued subsequently, or every 264 that is passed, or 263 that is passed, or an equivalent in the central excise system. So what is required is an understanding of the system, an understanding of the existence or non-existence of processes, and the following of the processes. So that is the reason why the emphasis is not on bribery alone, but to put systems in place. That's why we call it integrity. Integrity is not a term which is used for individuals alone. As an individual, you are all bound to be having a high degree of integrity. But as an organization, do we do the same thing? If I file a tax return under the income tax or a GST return, whether KV Chaudhary is processing that return, or Ravi Ramachandran is processing, or Palanivel Rajan is processing, do we follow the same system? Or we take different things? My younger days, again, the cash credit cases or the agriculture income cases, which are the standard run-of-the-mill cases, you go on asking questions to the taxpayer. He will first give where was this grown, he will give some address. Then you will ask him the Pattedar passbook or some document, something. You go on asking questions till such a time that he cannot give that document, and then you say, I therefore add this money as unexplained income. That is not what is contemplated in any organization is there. you have to have, you look at, for example, some of the USIRS instructions which are available in the public domain. For every section, you have a certain bare minimum amount of documentation, which if provided, it will be assumed that you have complied with law. Unless a fraud is involved and the document is fabricated, etc. So I said, let us put them in place. Whether it is income tax or tendering business or valuation in, for the purpose of custom or bank, whatever it is. So if these guidelines are there, officers are strengthened. Then they cannot be afraid that, sir, so-and-so told me to do it, or I was under pressure, I did it. Because the paper is there. If the paper is there, you can show, sir, this is what it is. Whether me or anybody cannot do it. Or me or anybody will do it, whether you tell or not. So, to build this kind of a systems, we have to work in the organization. To strengthen it, it is in our own interest. So, that is what I thought I will emphasize here. Now, this year's Vigilance Awareness Week, I think they have identified some 6 items. One, property management, management of assets, record management, technological initiatives, upgradation of guidelines, disposal of complaints outstanding as on 15/8/2022. Except the last one, which is a, kind of a asking you to dispose of certain cases by a certain date. Rest are all again putting the same thing in place. And the property management and management of assets, particularly for our 2 departments, it is very important. I will give you 2 examples and then close it. First, when we shifted from this, what is this building called? Vanparthi to that 108 building, some almirahs came there. Some of them didn't have any identification, so nobody owned it. So they were lying in that second floor of that building or first floor of the building, I don't recall, for a long time. Then Mr. Ramsamy one day came and said, hey, Chaudhary, no fellow is opening it up, why don't you go and open it? I was additional CIT headquarters attached to him. So I went, we called that Smith, locksmith, he came and opened. We found that almirah to be with full of silver plates and silver utensils, etc. We didn't know what they are there, why they are there, no panchanama, nothing, no paper, nothing was there. But full almirah worth about 40-50 kgs of silver were there. So I reported to him. He said, okay, anyway, now you do a panchanama of what is there. We did a panchanama. Then we were going on asking, who's it? So one very wise and elderly inspector sprung up and he said, sir, I remember this we seized from so-and-so fellow in so-and-so year. At that time I was an LDC, I was a member of that search team, some 20 years back, 62 or 63, 61 power to search came, 62 or 63 they seized, it is lying there. Then one more fellow came and said, sir, some years back the taxpayer went to court saying that I paid the taxes and my silver has not been released. High Court issued a contempt notice to sir, and so commissioner sir filed a petition seeking pardon, and that we will pay at the current rate, and we actually paid so many lakhs, sir, after taking board's approval. This is a real instance of discharge. Now, my sister department, as Central Vigilance Commissioner, one of the things, before we go to that, that's why when I became a member, the first thing I did was, I think you are aware, every charge we wrote by, please list all your stock in your, strong rooms. In Delhi strong room, where they seized, you know what this Punjab they call? The ladies wear the silver thing on the anklets. It will be very low quality of silver mixed with some chemicals. They were seized in bags and bags and they were kept. When the room was opened, it was like acid smell. Nobody could stay inside because that all deteriorated and small granules of silver was there and nothing could be made out. And only a few of the articles could be identified, about 50% of them. Balance 50%, at least till I retired, they could not be identified. Same thing with Customs Central Excise. They also seize a huge amount of goods, particularly in the airports and in other actions. And they also have a similar problem. That is the reason why the property, I mean, one is, of course, the property is owned by us. The other is properties in our custody, for which also we are custodians and trustees. So this has been introduced. So these are measures which strengthen any system. Now with the computerized or the digitized medium, there is no reason why we shouldn't be doing this and inviting trouble to ourselves. So Commission has given you now at least a mandate with reference to this. At least we should do the things. I think I have covered whatever I wanted to say. The one more thing which is not arising out of this, but just a suggestion to our people who are in both the departments. You see, the positions in CBI, they are not reserved for the police. There is a misapprehension that they are only for police. Only the joint director and above, that is not even joint director, additional director and above, that is additional director, special director and director, only are the three posts reserved for the police background. Up to that, every officer who has investigative skills has a chance to apply. And I prodded and prodded and prodded, and I think 2 officers from customs, 2 from income tax, and 1 from Indian Telecom Service who has the ability to see some of these electronic equipments, etc., interceptions, etc., point, we could recruit them. So those of the officers in the younger lot, particularly the additional CIT, JCIT, DCIT level, who have an aptitude for the investigation, they should keep applying. Okay, everybody doesn't get it, but if 10 people apply, definitely 1, 2 will get. During my time, at least 5 people I have been able to take. I think one of them is now is a DIG, and no, 2 of them are DIGs, one customs boy and one income tax, and there are 2, 3 others in this. This is only just not directly connected with this, but I thought you get a wider exposure. Not that CBI is good and we are less, or we are less and they are more. And our exposure is far, far, far superior to, because when it comes to the matter of handling economic crimes, in fact, that has not yet come through. Based on our CIB and AIR experience, we have developed a program for this determination of assets disproportionate to known sources of income. You all know how the CBI does it. I mean, can there be a more cruder method than that? Annexures 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, I mean, you show this man's case, I will do in one way. You show that man's case, I can do another way, somewhere else. Why isn't there a program? So I invoked our Bhanumati ji and Harish and some police officers. We prepared a whole thing, but somehow the CBI, they think their powers will be lost if this is made into an automate mode. So they are yet to amend their manual to do this. So, but systems have to come in place. Systems have to apply not only to the officers, it has to apply to even the people who review and monitor these cases. That is when the system will work perfectly. So friends, thank you very much. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak. And I'm not really sure whether it is directly corruption-free India and a developed nation. Yes, the less the corruption, the more the chance for development. We all know that, and I don't have to repeat all those World Bank circulated reports which says that the corruption affects the poorest more than the rich, etc., etc. So let's take this opportunity. You all took a pledge yesterday, integrity pledge. Please remember it's an integrity pledge. It's not a anti-bribery pledge. Though bribery has been referred in that. So we have taken an integrity pledge and let's work for the betterment of this. One small observation, I am not joining any issues because it's not appropriate when you speak on a podium to join issues. To think that there is less corruption, no corruption in other countries probably is an overstatement. There are different forms of corruption. We have all seen people said Malaysia is damn good, Singapore is damn good. We have also seen what happened there. So every country has its own issues, and I don't want to compare. When people say, they used to ask questions, particularly the media people, so you are the CVC, what are you doing? India is at some 174th in the corruption index prepared by the Transparency International. So my only answer used to be, I don't know how they arrive at these numbers, 174 out of 195 or whatever X number it is. And I don't care whether I am one step above Pakistan or two steps above somebody else. As long as our citizens are satisfied the way in which the public servants are working, and the public servants are satisfied that they are discharging their functions, we need to reach that kind of a nirvana stage rather than comparing myself that I am 174, next year I will come somehow to 173. That doesn't really serve my purpose. So thank you very much for the opportunity and thanks for your patience. And it's over to Ravi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that enlightening keynote address. Please accept our sincere thanks for honoring us today with your presence. As a token of our respect and gratitude, Income Tax, together with GST and Central Excise, would like to felicitate our chief guest, Shri K.V. Chaudhary, with the shawl and mementos. For that, may I invite Shri Sunil Mathur, sir, DGIT Investigation, to please adorn a shawl to our chief guest. Thank you, sir. May I now request Madam Jayanti Krishnan, Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, to please present a shawl to our chief guest. Thank you, Madam. May I request Sri Mandalika Srinivas, Principal Chief Commissioner of GST and Central Excise, to please give a memento in the form of books. This comes from the Principal CC of GST and Central Excise. May I now request Sri R. Ravichandran, Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, to present a memento. And set of books to our chief guest. Ponniyin Selvan, 5 parts in English, is being presented to our chief guest. This comes from Income Tax Department. Thank you, sirs. May I now request Shri M.M. Parthiban, Principal Commissioner of GST and Central Excise, Chennai North, to please deliver vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, Vanakkam and Namaskar. Respected Chief Guest, former CVC, Mr. Chaudhary sir, the Principal CCIT, Mr. Ravichandran sir, and our Principal CCIT GST and Central Excise, Mr. Mandalika Srinivas sir, the Chief Commissioners assembled here from both the CBIC and CBDT, senior officers of the CBIC and CBDT, officers and staff, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it as a great privilege to stand here and on behalf of the CBIC and CBDT to offer the vote of thanks for a wonderful program. First of all, I wish to thank both Principal Chief Commissioners, Income Tax and GST and Central Excise for putting forth this unity platform and unity at all levels in action and in the welfare of the officers and staff, which has been highly I think curated by our former CVC with his unique experience. Sir, we have crossed boundaries and then we remain as you could see, we remain as brothers and sisters of this department. It is not only my experience in North Block, but now in the field formations also we work together because we know how important it is direct and indirect tax. It is two coins, and you have rightly explained in your wide experience the two concepts, awakening and integrity. Earlier, the Vigilance Awareness Week used to be a week of activities. But when our former CVC took over, he really made it as a wow moment. We used to call it VAW in short form in various our correspondence. It really became a wow moment. It's not only the officers, the department, but outsiders, the trade, industry. In fact, I fondly remember myself and Mr. Ratnaswamy, we were the ADGs. So every now and then, he used to come and make the think tanks of the various CVOs of the PSUs, government to think together and put in a system in place. And every year, it used to be like a Vigilance Awareness Week in one major center of the country. And he himself will personally visit and explain to the trade what exactly the government and what exactly the commission is trying to do. Sir, we have observed under your guidance, and we had the fortunate experience to work with you. And particularly in CBIC, we had a lot of advantages. In fact, he introduced the online vigilance clearance to be given to our officers when he was the CVC. He had come and inaugurated in Delhi. So large number of initiatives he has kept, and as he explained, the system has to be in place. The integrity is not only in the human individual as an officer or as a citizen, but in the system, how it works, the organization, the integrity. Sir, we are thankful. Maybe we had more time, would have had more rich experience and wisdom flowing to us, and we would have enriched much more experience. But we are very thankful that on this day you are here in Chennai, and we were able to listen to you, your wisdom. I also thank the organizers of this event and the various officers who have participated in this and made this function a successful one, not only now, for the years to come. We will show Chennai zone, both income tax and GST and central excise customs will show that it is a modern and it is a developed zone. And I would like to recall the DGIT, who is heading the CIC meetings. We also show a large number of studies, and then we show how unitedly an action taken by all enforcement agencies can be a deterrent to tax evaders, as well as the corruption as one of the element. So we have been working together, sir. We will, with your best wishes, we will make this as a modern and important tax administration zone. I wish and I thank all the officers who have participated in this. And once again, thank you and wish all of us a very vigilant and aware years ahead in our function. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Let us now rise for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे दव जय गाता जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे